Jeff Nippard has just made a video called Steroids Are Awesome, and I believe it is his most trending video currently. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be going through and reacting to it, because being around a lot of people who have been in fitness for years and being in fitness years myself, I actually do know quite a lot of people and have encountered and met a lot of people who are on steroids. And I know that the video he put out is mainly about the dangers of steroids and like how they actually are and their impact on society currently.
The problem with steroids is that they work, like really work. That's probably irresponsible for me to say, but if we're going to talk about the steroid epidemic, we need to do it honestly.
I mean, it's definitely not irresponsible of you to say, like, it's a fact that steroids do work. And I mean, if you're a science-based guy, I think you just got to outright say that, kind of like he's saying. Definitely not irresponsible to say.
Here's a 3-week trend cycle update for you guys.
Buying trend in Thailand.
Steroids build muscle way faster than something like creatine. It's not even close. If you started taking 5 grams of creatine every day for a year straight, you'd add about 2 pounds of extra muscle. If you started taking steroids at a normal bodybuilding dose, you'd probably add about 20 pounds of extra muscle that year.
All right. First question. What is a normal bodybuilding dose of steroids? Because, like, one thing I've noticed a lot on YouTube is, like, on the internet in general, people give the average person who goes to the gym way too much credit. Like, dude, the average person who goes to the gym is absolutely brain dead, bro. You say small cycle here. Let me tell you what somebody said word for word. He was a out of shape dude, like a very, very out of shape dude. You could not convince me this guy did anything but drink beer and armchair quarterback, right? I just know he had a Sam's Club membership and a fucking golf cart. Man was not fit, okay? He asked me what supplements I'd recommend him taking, right? And I literally said, well, what supplements are you on? I expected him to tell me, like, you know, protein, creatine, pre-workout, maybe, you know, stuff like that. No. This guy literally said, word for word, I'm not on much. Just test, trend, and D-ball. People on the internet give the average person way too much credit, okay? Everyone is on way more than you think they are.
I'm a lifetime natural bodybuilder, and these are my testosterone levels right now. 485 nanograms per deciliter.
Damn, really?
That's right around the middle of the normal range.
Crazy.
For someone my age. This is bodybuilder Chase Irons, the world's most honest, enhanced bodybuilder. He also had blood work done this month. Where do you think his testosterone levels are? Maybe double mine? Or triple mine? Nope. His levels are literally off the charts. The test maxes out at 10,000 nanograms per deciliter, and his testosterone was higher than that. He openly admits to
testosterone levels of the average Minecraft player?
Taking a lot of gear, and this shows just how big the gap between natural and enhanced can get. More people are taking steroids now than ever before. Why is that? Well, I think it's because more and more fitness influencers are opening up about their anabolic use.
I don't know if more people are taking steroids now than ever. I do think it's more young people than there has ever been, though. Like, more young people are using steroids than there have ever been, which does make sense if his theory is the social media thing, because, well, you know, social media like YouTube and stuff like that is more of something that young people pay attention to, you know?
I think it's because more and more fitness influencers are opening up about their anabolic use. In theory, this honesty is a good thing. That's because anyone watching would be able to adjust their own expectations for their goals. If they're natural and they know their favorite fitness influencer isn't, they'd be able to lower their own standards and say, okay, well, now I know that result isn't achievable for me. But this kind of backfired. A lot of people didn't lower their expectations, they just started taking steroids. And a lot of fitness influencers are only ever partially transparent. They say they're on steroids and they show their gains.
That a little Bradley Martin shade there, and some Trend Twins shade thrown. All right, Jeff. I didn't know you had that dog in you like that. Jeff is about that life now. Hell yeah.
But they rarely, if ever, show any of the bad stuff. So the only logical.
Bro, if I was in a video while Jeff Nippard was talking about, like, the people who are not honest about steroids, and I got put in the same area of the video as Liber King, bro, I would throw a fucking tantrum.
So to help you understand exactly what happens to your body when you take steroids, let's inject some juice together and see what happens next.
Jeff no longer natty? No, I'm joking. He's clickbaiting us. Can you guys imagine if he did just fucking rebuke his natty card right there on fucking screen?
It's one of the most common forms of steroids that people take. It's basically just a testosterone molecule with a carboxyl group attached and dissolved in a vegetable oil so you can inject it. Its job is to make that muscle cell bigger. And if that's all that steroids did, that'd be sweet and I'd be on them. but there's a lot more that happens. For one,
Facts.
your heart.
That is facts, dude. If steroids had no side effects, yeah, everyone would fucking be on them. And I think we already kind of know that because of how people are whenever it comes to SARMs. Like, people always heard that SARMs had zero side effects because of the shady ass marketing that like surrounded them. You know, you still hear people talk about how SARMs have no side effects, and guess what? Everybody's on fucking SARMs. By the way, SARMs do in fact have side effects.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
There. The testosterone enters your heart cells and tells your DNA to make your heart bigger. Having a big heart sounds like a good thing, but it's really not.
You guys make my heart bigger. I am literally trying to create a parasocial relationship. Get manipulated. JK. But you guys who do comment on every video, y'all are chill as fuck. Y'all are awesome.
I'm not the health police. You can do whatever you want with your own body, and I've got no problem with people who enhance. But I want people to at least be aware of exactly what you're doing and the full effect it has, good and bad. For example, not many people realize that steroids affect your brain.
Really high levels of anxiety. It's dose dependent. It's also compound dependent. Things like Tren cause way more anxiety than other milder compounds like Primo. So this is fun. I haven't admitted this yet, but it's not a particularly crazy admission. I recently took a validated, empirically validated, scientifically based scale for anxiety. And actually currently, right now, I have severe anxiety disorder. It's probably the most severe type of anxiety disorder, short of like panic disorder. And that's actually right now, as I talk, that's what I have. And another one, also another psychological side effect. Some types of your intelligence degrade over time with steroid use. This was tested in people currently using steroids and people who used to use steroids. Most people are just totally unaware that steroids have that potential effect on IQ reduction.
Bro, I had no idea that steroids caused smooth brain. I didn't know they hit you with the fucking orb of confusion from SpongeBob. Like, damn, that's crazy. But dude, the anxiety that I've seen in people, bro, is no joke, man. I have seen people like ruin their entire fucking life because of the anxiety they get on steroids. Like, dude, they just get so fucking paranoid about everything. I knew a guy, I'm not going to tell you his name or anything like that. Dude, he was on Tren for months, right? He was just a completely different person on versus off, bro. He couldn't get like anything done at his job because he literally was just so fucking paranoid about everything around him and ended up like self-sabotaging himself a lot in his life.
That tracks with the science. This 2021 study took 3D MRI scans of the brains of over 200 weightlifters. About half of them were natty, the other half enhanced. The scans revealed that the lifters who took steroids had a significantly bigger brain age gap. That means when they looked at the natural brains, their brain age matched their actual age. But the brains of the enhanced lifters looked much older than they should look for someone their age. Their brains were aging faster than they should be. And the psychology of steroids is fascinating. Most people take steroids because they want to look bigger and feel better about the way they look. And I get it. I want to look bigger and feel better too.
Oh, hell yeah. Everybody does. You will never be big enough. If you do think you're big enough, then you just don't want it that bad.
Will make you look bigger, but they might not help you feel any better about the way you look. They actually could make your body dysmorphia worse. That's because a lot of people think if they just start enhancing, then they'll look how they want. But just because you take gear doesn't mean you're going to look like sebum. And then when you eventually come off, you'll quickly lose a good chunk of the size that you put on and feel smaller than ever. At that point, it becomes near impossible not to go back on, take even more steroids, and the cycle continues.
Dude, that is so unfathomably true. Same dude, right? He was using, I think it was Tren, right? Dude used that for a couple months. He did pack on quite a bit of size, right? However, after that, dude, he was off of them for like months and months and months. And all he kept talking about was, oh, I'll be a lot bigger once I hop back on. I've lost a lot of size. I'll be bigger once I hop back on. Eventually, like, he did hop back on, didn't quite get the results he wanted. And then he upped all of his shit, kept upping it because he just was not satisfied at all with how he looked. And like, I remember whenever he was like PCTing and stuff like that, whenever he was like off cycle and he looked like extra small, he literally told me one time, he was like, dude, I don't think I'm ever coming back off my stuff whenever I hop back on. I'm just so sick of feeling like this. And I was like, once you introduce something that is that fucking volatile, that builds that much size that fast, then you get so used to that instant gratification, dude, you're never going to be satisfied. As a natty, right? There's this really, really nice thing that we have, right? Where whenever you're an intermediate or advanced lifter, right? Your muscle gain is slow, but at least you know it's happening. Probably. On steroids, like, how the fuck do you even have motivation to go to the gym? Because, like, whenever you're off cycle, you know for a fact you are not gaining size. Imagine going to the gym for months at a time, absolutely knowing you're not gaining size. In fact, you're probably losing size. How bad would that fuck with your body dysmorphia? That would make you, like, want nothing more than to just take more.
After you inject, some of that testosterone is converted into a hormone called DHT, which causes hair follicles to shrink faster. This is why so many bodybuilders are bald in their 20s. Some testosterone is also converted into estrogen, which can increase breast tissue formation in men, leading to soft, puffy nipples, also known as gyno. The most reliable way to get rid of gyno is surgery.
I saw gyno surgery one time on Instagram. That shit fucking traumatized me, bro. I can't do anything that's like surgery related, bro. Like anything that's a video of somebody having some kind of operation done, bro. Can't fucking stand it. Makes my dick retract back into my body.
Injecting testosterone also lets your testicles know that there's more than enough testosterone to go around, so they shrink to about 1/2 of their usual size. The shrinkage quickly shuts down your body's natural ability to make its own testosterone, which is why some people need to inject testosterone for the rest of their life.
Imagine having permanent winter balls.
Also makes sebaceous glands on your skin grow bigger, which causes them to overproduce a sticky, oily substance called sebum. Sebum moisturizes and protects your skin in normal amounts, but causes acne when overproduced.
The worst part of when you get steroid acne is that Greg Doucette will 100% make a video about you, telling you that you look bad because you took steroids and now you have acne.
What would be a side effect that most people like wouldn't be aware of until you've kind of done it?
Yeah, it's a good question. There are a few of those I can think of. Because anabolic steroids are mostly gotten in, at least the United States and Canada, through underground laboratories, some of the gear you get is like damn near farmer grade. It goes in smooth as butter, never does anything, no inflammation. Some of the gear goes in there and boy, does it mess you up. And I have been personally hospitalized at least once for a non-infected but insanely immune responsive abscess.
I remember I used to watch Brandon Harding back whenever I was like a 17-year-old, and he told a story about how he injected in his quad and it like swelled up and then like shot blood across the room. I know that in some cases, like if people like really botch their fucking injection, then they have to get parts of their like muscle removed. That would suck, to take steroids to get better muscles, and then all of a sudden you have worse muscles because you f***ed up your injection or something.
The term roid rage, but it's really aggression. And it very infrequently displays itself as actual violent acts, but the thoughts you get on steroids are disturbing. You might like war movies and stuff, but if there's a war movie playing in your head every single second you're awake and asleep, it gets a little old after a while, but you have big muscles, so I guess that's cool. So that's how the cookie crumbles.
Based. Having big muscles is literally more important than anything else in life. Nah, but seriously though, once again, God, I hate to keep using this guy as an example, but like, literally saw this guy like blow up on several different people. Like, just because of all the shit he was on, bro. One thing goes wrong and he's on a fucking 30-minute rampage, dude. Which, like, from what I've heard, it's only really that way if you're already kind of an asshole. Like, if you're already kind of, like, reactive. Because, like, I've known people who are blasting hella gear, and they're the nicest people on the planet. And then, you know, there's on the flip side of that, there's people who don't take very much, and they flip their shit. At least from what I've seen. Or maybe they were just using the fact that they're on gear as an excuse to be an asshole. I don't know.
Feels like you're 16 years old again.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's probably not a good thing overall, because you're now an adult with the like libido of a raging 16-year-old, and you have...
Let me tell you something. If I was 16 again, bro, I would not be fucking happy. When I was 16, dude, I was fat and bordering on having an ED, dude. Dude, I was up as a 16-year-old, bro. Knew nothing about dieting, was small, hardly worked out. I feel much better now than I did at age 16.
Responsibilities and things to keep up with, and all you can think about is your perpetually erect penis, basically, which is not ideal.
You guys need to be on gear for that? No, I'm joking, dude. Dude, no, but I do know people. Same guy, bro. I swear. I'm sorry. Bro was a magnum horny dude. Off the fucking charts. Affected his work, affected his relationship, affected everything. He was an absolute semen demon, my boy. Bro could not talk or be in the same room as a woman without having intrusive thoughts, dude. And that's what I've seen with, like, several different people, bro. You know, the whole, like, roid rage thing, that stuff sometimes happens. The horniness, it's always there. It will happen. You will absolutely want to stick your wiener in anything with a pulse.
Increased probability of injury. This is sometimes talked about when your strength is skyrocketing. your connective tissue cannot maintain the pace of your muscular strength, and often this will lead to unnecessary injury in the gym because, you know, if your bench goes up 50 pounds in 6 weeks, like you're not, typically you're not gonna like hold back. You're gonna keep pushing because this weight feels like a feather now. You're gonna, you know, go
Another
as far
W
as it
for
can
being
take
natty.
you. But your connective tissue is not keeping up with that pace, and this you'll see often bodybuilders that end up with brutal injuries.
Which is crazy because, dude, I have never been injured in the gym. I've been injured like on like a heavy bag. I've been injured in like jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. I have never been injured in the gym. Outside whenever I was first lifting, I would constantly get like shoulder impingement. After I was done with that, dude, I have never been injured in the gym. I have certain exercises that flare up like certain injuries I have, like my scoliosis and stuff, like gets aggravated by dumbbell rows. I'm very thankful for that, of course. Like, I know people who they do one dumbbell lateral raise and they get tennis elbow, right? But like, you know, think about how many videos we've seen of people who are on steroids who just have like pec tears or bicep tears or anything like that. Like, it's insane. And then you got to think about the fact that all the other shit we talked about, you know, whenever you come off your steroids, your physique decreases, which makes your body dysmorphia like a million times worse and shit like that. It's just a recipe because like while you're on these steroids, you might get injured. And then as soon as you get injured, bro, you're gonna shrink because you probably shouldn't be blasting if you can't even push it hard in the gym, you know? Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that people usually come off of them whenever they're recovering. But like, you are probably gonna get injured, and that injury is going to keep you out of the gym. And outside of the gym, you are 100% going to lose a bunch of size, not make any progress for a ton of months. And then in that time frame, you probably will develop body dysmorphia or come to the conclusion that you never want to come off steroids once you jump back on them. The entire time you're injured, you'll be like, damn, I can't wait for fucking steroids to come back into my system so I can never come off of them. You'll be a fucking crackhead for them, bro.
I think what a lot of people think is, I'm not going to go crazy with the juice. Like, I'm just going to do a little like sports TRT or whatever, like 150, 200 milligrams a week. How do you feel about that?
I think the word TRT is very conflated with like baby cycle essentially at this point. When you're on TRT, even if it looks on paper like a normal total testosterone, it is not representative of what you could do naturally. So even if you're on like, you know, low dose TRT, on paper you could define it as such, but it's certainly like you're essentially on mini enhancement territory perpetually, which I'm not to say that that's bad, because that's almost like the boat I fall into myself essentially. It's just a matter of managing the risk to reward on it, and if you feel it is worthwhile for yourself, considerate of all of the factors that underlie it.
Yeah, man, TRT is one of those like buzzwords now that like, dude, everyone's on TRT. It's not as bad anymore, but it was really, really, really bad back in like I want to say a year or two ago. Whenever everyone was like, oh, I'm still natural, I'm just on TRT, right? Okay, I will stand by this point. And I made this point in my 10 myths video that like 70% of people who work out, bro, are on PEDs of some kind. Maybe that number seems a bit inflated to you guys, but like talking to people, bro, like there's a lot of fucking people on PEDs. The reason I came to such a high number is because I'm also counting people that are on TRT, and I'm also kind of throwing in like a little bit more because I know there are people who are on steroids who just aren't telling me also. Or there are some people who are taking shit like SARMs because it's something some guy at a supplement store sold them, and they don't even know they're on PEDs. But yeah, dude, TRT, I definitely include it in the category of being on gear.
Would you say there is a healthy way to use steroids?
So everything is a spectrum in this case. So there are healthier and less healthy ways.
I'm on a spectrum.
And if you want to use steroids in a healthier way, then what you're going to do is start with very small amounts of them, check your blood work, do various heart scans and procedure, consult with a professional coach who does this for a living, have a medical doctor on retainer to make sure that you're getting every several months or twice a year blood work. You check your blood pressure all the time, you cycle properly, coming on and off. You take as little gear as will accomplish the effect you're interested in. If you do that, you can definitely do it healthier than not. But, you know, there are ways to race a car and design a race car and design the suit and the crumple zones that make it safer. But as soon as you pass 200 miles an hour, safer is the term. It's not safe. It was never safe.
I like that he laid out the healthy way to do it, because that's actually a pretty good deterrent from doing it. This video so far has been really fucking good at convincing people to not do steroids, because he's laying out the information, laying out all the side effects. Then he's saying, okay, well, you can do it healthier. Here's everything it's going to cost you. Like, if you want to do it healthy and not die at the age of fucking 28, dude, like, you have to get your blood work done. And then you have to have all this other shit. Like, dude, I know people who their health is probably like permanently affected because they just won't get their blood work done. Like, they'll never check their health markers. And it's kind of like an ignorance is bliss type thing. You know, I can't see it, so it must not be hurting me. All that just to take something that you're not even sure is actually steroid. Like, a lot of people get sold fake shit. Once again, same guy. He hopped on a huge cycle, and while he was on this huge cycle, he kept constantly talking about how he thinks it was fake because, like, he was seeing nothing, he felt no difference or anything like that. He did that through like 3 different dealers. So, like, it's super likely that shit is fake. Even if, like, if you aren't getting real shit, like, tough luck, buddy. You just wasted $300 and you got to do it again. There's no way to get a refund. You can't exactly report the guy to the police, because imagine if it was any other drug. Yeah, bro. Yeah, officer, get that guy. He sold me fake meth.
I notice people at like a really young age coming up to me and being like, hey, like, I might hop on, like, you know, I've been training for a while now, like, teenagers. Do you have like an age in mind where it's like, this is where, you know, you're old enough to even like consider it, and before that, just figure out your training and diet?
Yeah, there's a couple things that go into that. One is some kinds of steroids close your growth plates early, and that means they'll prevent you from reaching an adult height. Some men don't stop growing until they're 22 years old, and if you start taking it when you're 16, you're probably going to be a short king for much longer than you anticipate. Well, actually, a shorter king than you ended up should have become with your genetics. And you know, to almost the same group of people to whom jacked lifestyle is important, being as tall as possible is also important, seemingly. Another thing is the brain develops in very, very high level ways well into your late 20s, and in subtle ways through your entire lifespan. And so until about your mid 20s, I would say there's a high probability that steroids will stunt your brain development to a significant extent. And so I would say my cutoff age generally, as the conversation for responsible medically supervised steroid use for serious goals by a serious individual, begins at age 25.
The answer I usually give is like, get at least 10 years of natural training under your belt.
A lot of things there. So first of all, Jeff Nippard, once again, I think that people on fitness YouTube generally give the average population way too much fucking credit for how smart they are. 10 years natural training, honestly, I just don't think it's a very good metric. Reason being, I know people who have trained for like 40 plus years, and the only gains they ever saw were in their first 2 years of lifting, where they got their newbie gains. They really fit the term lifetime intermediates. They never evolve. People see those fast gains right there, and for some reason, so many people, they're so fucking lazy. They will not look into the science or look into anything or try to learn more, because it's so easy to just be fucking mediocre. I think there should be way more of like an intelligence metric rather than like a years of natural training experience, you know? I'll go as far as to say, bro, if you can't listen to like a full video of either of these guys right here, Jeff Nippard or Mike Isratel, pick like the nerdiest video on their channel. Literally the nerdiest possible video on their channel. Like the one that has the most terms, the most like science-based whatever, you know, RPE, RAR, all that shit, right? If you can't understand every single fucking word that they are saying, don't even think about it. And also, Mike brought up a good point. Yeah, there's a lot of young people who want to hop on gear. I literally met a 15-year-old one time who was on S23. If my knowledge is correct, I'm pretty sure S23 is like the most suppressive SARM there is, and he was 15 years old. 15 years old is such a fucking young age. The thing about like teenagers too, bro, is that even if you tell them to not do steroids, so what? They're gonna do them. Like, they're gonna do them anyway. The main thing with like young people though now is like the SARM. They're not really on gear because it's really hard for young people, especially like teenagers, to find gear. You know, they're not exactly like finding steroid dealers. I think the main thing is SARMs. I would like to see if Jeff Nippard did this again, but for SARMs. Like, if he did this for SARMs, that would be so fucking sick, actually. I think that would deter a lot of high schoolers and teenagers and stuff like that from using them, because this so far has been a really, really good video.
And I'll be honest, there have been several moments in my own bodybuilding career when enhancing has been very tempting.
There's been several moments in everyone's lifting career where enhancing sounds great. The first fucking day you set foot in the gym, enhancing sounds great. If you wonder, have I ever wanted to take steroids? Absolutely. Every single day I get the desire to take fucking gear. I think this was a fucking awesome video. Jeff Nippard, on the unlikely scenario you're actually watching this reaction, fucking great job. I would love to see one on SARMs, dude. Exactly the way you did it in this one. Just be realistic. bring in people who've taken them and stuff like that. I think if you did that same thing with SARMs, I think it would go hard. I recommend you guys check out the full video on Jeff Nippard's channel. Please subscribe, and if you like this more reaction style videos, let me know. Anyways, thank you guys. See you next time.